Good evening, everyone. Welcome to GSA 101. We are going to head and get started here as we get a few more participants in here. So while you arrive, let's see, I see a few hand raises. If you all would you go ahead and hop in the chat and introduce yourselves, maybe say your name and where you're from today. Looks like Brock, hi there. Here we go, awesome. Luke from Louisville. Lillian from Fort Knox, Brian from Villa Hills, Lauren from Louisville, got some Lawrenceburg, Lexington. Nice. Welcome, everybody. Awesome. So I do want to take a quick second and just introduce myself to you this evening before we begin. My name is Dean Allen Muir. I am the GSA Alumni Coordinator here at Governor's School for the Arts. I myself am a 2005 musical theater alum, so this program is very near and dear to my heart. I also have my associate tonight joining me, Jessica Graham. Jess, did you want to hop on and just say hi real quick?
Yeah, hi all. My name is Jessica Graham. I'm the GSA Program Manager. I'm so excited to be with y'all tonight. I am actually from Western Kentucky. I'm from Muhlenberg County, and I am a 2007 drama alum. So excited to be with you guys tonight. I'll be answering a lot of questions that you guys may have. And so if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A feature or drop them in the chat.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and start off our GSA 101 presentation for you. All right, here we go. All right, so in this presentation tonight, you're here for GSA 101. So we are going to talk about Kentucky's Governor's School for the Arts, also known as GSA. We'll also discuss what type of students we're looking for, provide an overview of the application process, and some additional virtual information sessions that will dig further into the application process will be held later on. So be sure to stay tuned to our website and our social media channels for all the continued updates. Today's session is also being live streamed on Facebook and recorded. The recording will be made publicly available in the coming days on our YouTube channel. We'll have some time for question and answers at the end of this presentation, but feel free as they come to you to enter them into the question and answer box. We may answer a few of those that pop up, or we may save them till the end to address them all together. For those of you watching on Facebook, you can also feel free to leave some questions on that stream as well. We'll be keeping an eye on that. And of course, if you're attending this here real time in Zoom with us, thank you for joining. And we will be sending you a survey after the presentation. We ask that you could complete this for us just so that you help share your responses, which help ensure our recruitment efforts are helpful and as far reaching as possible. So real quick, I'm going to launch a poll here. Oops. Go back a slide. I'm going to launch a quick poll. And if you could take the time to answer these questions, really easy. We're just trying to see maybe what art forms we're most interested in getting some information on tonight. And then, of course, which best describes you? Are you here because you're currently a high school student and you're looking to apply for GSA? Maybe you're a guidance counselor or teacher looking for some information on your student. Maybe you're a parent, you've had an alum come through before, here again, first time, welcome. All right. We have a nice even spread of these too. All right, so that first poll was answered fairly quickly. So it looks like we've got a pretty even spread, actually. We've got 14 here for creative writing, 9 for dance, 8 for design, 11 for drama, 10 for film and photography, 13 instrumental music, 13 musical theater, 21 visual art, hey, visual art, 9 vocal music. Awesome, thank you. And it looks like 57 out of the 61 of you are current high school students. So awesome. So happy you are here and taking the initiative to get some more information on this amazing program. And of course, welcome to our parents and guardians as well. All right. Thank you. Share those results just so you can see those real quick if you'd like. All right. Don't see any questions yet, which is great. So we are going to go ahead and hop right in. All righty. So GSA. GSA is a community of artists empowering Kentucky's next generation of creative leaders. That's the go-to definition that we have for it. So first things first, the main thing, to put it simply, is that GSA is a community of artists. That's the first little part of that, statement there. The primary way that we like to empower our artists, is to be a part of our community and, be a part of the next generation of creative leaders. And we really like to foster that talent here at GSA and our summer program. So the summer program, I'm sure you've heard of it. And if you haven't, it's amazing. So GSA Summer Program is a 3-week residential program for high school age artists that takes place on a college campus. Students are immersed in an intense, challenging, and exhilarating learning environment in one of 9 art forms. And while each student focuses on one art form they are attending GSA for, interdisciplinary collaboration is a major component of the program, meaning that students are also exposed to and engage with other art forms other than their own. So we do like to point out, GSA is a rigorous and intense program, but it is so much fun packed into 3 weeks, and it is just the time of your life. So, as I mentioned, GSA has 9 core art forms. They are creative writing, dance, the newly named design, formerly known as architecture and design, moving right along to drama, film and photography, instrumental music, musical theater, visual art, and vocal music. So class sizes vary amongst each art form and are generally based off of the level of interest we see in any given art form in the applicant pool. So the largest art form is instrumental music, with about 50 student spots expected in each of the 2 summer sessions. Visual art is the next largest, with 40 student positions anticipated. And the smaller art forms are typically design with about 16 and film and photography with about 16 students per session as well. Most other art forms tend to have a class in the upper 20s or the lower 30s per session. And yes, there are indeed 2 sessions of GSA Summer Program. Thanks to the expansion funding we received from the Kentucky Department of Education in 2021, all art forms take place at both sessions except for design, which only takes place at session 1, and dance, which takes place at session 2. Dance, of course, is another larger program which hosts about 40 students in that second session. I saw a question pop up here. Could you type in the chat if you can hear me all right? You can? Okay. So if a few of you are having some problems hearing me, my apologies. Please check your sound settings. Thank you everyone for tuning in and letting me know you could hear me. I appreciate that. All right, so one of the things that we really like to push about GSA is that it is tuition free. So all of this is provided at no cost to students who are accepted. GSA does not charge tuition, room or board, or any other fees for attending the program. Keeping the program tuition free has been an important part of our mission since GSA was founded in 1987 as a partnership between the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Kentucky Performing Arts, a nonprofit here in Louisville with a statewide mission, formerly known as the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts. So before we dive further into what the summer program looks like, let's talk about GSA's values a bit. What do we believe in and what's important to us? So first of all, we believe artists are vitally important to society. If you are passionate about your art form, that means you. You are important. You are an artist, and artists make vital contributions to our society. They innovate, problem solve, and inspire. Artists spark empathy, joy, social dialogue, and human connection. GSA's role is to connect young artists to affirmation, empowerment, resources, and quality educational opportunities towards a future where they can be the best version of their creative selves. And we know that behind every artist is a network of support from educators, mentors, family, and friends. So if you are watching this as a guardian, teacher, or just a cheerleader for a young artist, GSA is here for you too. Your support and mentorship of young artists is vitally important. Thank you for being an arts hero. All right, so on this slide, you'll see some wonderful adjectives that have been used to describe GSA. GSA is uplifting, open, communicative. It's a community, trust, integrity, authenticity, vulnerability, resilience, Kentucky love, creativity, innovation. So to break these down a bit more of these values, GSA is uplifting. We believe each of us is capable and deserving of a bright and abundant future. GSA is open and communicative. We celebrate the differences between us and seek out the commonalities we might not have realized we share. GSA is community. We live, learn, and grow together. Sorry, this is popping up again. If you're having trouble with your sound issues still, maybe try to check your volume or maybe unplug or replug in. Okay. So GSA is trust and integrity because without accountability and honoring our commitments to each other, we can't access the next three values: authenticity, vulnerability, and resilience. At GSA, we dare to be our true and best selves, embracing our quirks, growing and learning together, courageously sharing our unique voices with the world, and celebrating each person's worth. GSA is also about Kentucky love. With students coming from all corners of the Commonwealth, we discover the cultural richness of our state and develop our roles in creating the future we want for our home. And of course, GSA is about creativity and innovation. After all, we are artists. We flip the script, we pivot, we design with a brighter tomorrow, and we bring color to everyday life. So that's who we are. But what kind of students are we seeking to join GSA at our summer program? To be eligible to apply for next summer's program, you must currently be a high school sophomore or junior in Kentucky. And if you're not quite old enough just yet to apply for GSA, keep watching this video because you can start preparing yourself to be a competitive GSA applicant years in advance. It may come as no surprise that GSA is also looking for students who exhibit skill in their art form. We want to ensure every GSA student is up for the challenge of an intense 3-week experience in their artistic discipline. However, don't be discouraged if you feel you haven't received a lot of formal training or you feel like you don't measure up to other young artists in the state for one reason or another. Just as much as we are looking for proven artistic skill, we are also looking for artistic potential. Plus, the only way you can guarantee you won't get into GSA is by not applying. The application process is designed to help you prepare for future opportunities like college applications, so it's a learning experience no matter what. And remember, everyone at GSA, including the adjudicators who score your application, are cheering you on. We want you to do well, and we recognize the ambition and courage it takes to submit your application. So go for it. Put yourself out there. Equally as important, GSA looks for students who are passionate about their art form. We aren't just interested in what you create, but why you create it. Think about what you want to accomplish through your creativity. Do you want to make other people smile? Do you want to spark change? At GSA Summer Program, we live, breathe, and eat art. So we're looking for students who exhibit the level of passion and motivation it takes to dive into an opportunity like this one. We're also looking for students who exhibit an ability to collaborate with an open mind. GSA Summer Program is a diverse group of Kentuckians of different identities, perspectives, and walks of life. Students are expected to not only live with people from different from themselves, but to learn from them and create with them as well. Together, we co-create a powerful community that is larger than, but dependent upon, our individual contributions. And of course, we're looking for students who are eager to learn. GSA is designed to challenge you, to present you with new methods, ideas, and concepts. So we're looking for students who are excited to keep growing. We know sometimes it can feel uncomfortable to be challenged, but that's where the trust and support of GSA come into play. We all learn and grow together. It's also worth emphasizing that GSA seeks and welcomes applicants of all backgrounds and identities. This means we seek young artists from across the continuum of and at the intersections of race, gender, identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, hometown setting, mental and physical health or ability, language, religious beliefs, political leaning, or cultural background. Translations of our materials are available upon request. And while the GSA application is online, students without access to reliable internet can contact us via phone to discuss how we can accommodate their application process. All in all, we seek a student body that represents the richly diverse life experiences and perspectives of Kentucky, because a very profound way to grow is for all of us to learn from people who are different from ourselves. All right, so let's dig a little further into the summer program. What's it like? How will you spend your time? Do students actually have to do their own laundry? Hint, hint, they do. So on the first day of the program, students move into their residential hall and attend an opening ceremony with their guardian. Then it's time to say goodbye to your family for 3 entire weeks. That's right, once guardians leave campus on opening day, there is no visitation for the entire duration of the program. For some of you, that may be exciting news, and for others, that may sound a little scary, but fear not. Throughout GSA, you will be surrounded by compassionate residential staff, faculty, and a mental health counselor to help you cope with any stress or homesickness that may arise. One thing to note is students aren't allowed to have their cell phones outside of their dorm room, but you can always call your family and friends at the end of the day. Now on the second day of the program is when we really hit the ground running. So each day begins with a provided breakfast, followed by a morning session attended by the entire school. Morning sessions include performances, presentations, and Q&As with artists from a variety of fields and careers. It's a great way to learn about other art forms, and you might even discover careers in the arts you never knew existed. Then it's off to class, or as we call it at GSA, studio time. Studio time can consist of many different activities that vary based on your art form of focus. It could be classes, workshops, rehearsals, demonstrations, field trips, independent work time, and so much more. You also receive personalized training from a variety of experts in your field, developing mentorships that can last a lifetime. After 3 hours of morning studio, we break for lunch. The afternoon consists of a 4-hour studio period before heading to dinner. Then the evening can look one of 3 ways: another studio session until 10 p.m., an all-school assembly featuring a performance or presentation that's more fully produced than the morning session, or it could look like some free time in the residential hall with programming led by the RAs. Students can hit the hay or socialize in the residential hall, but lights are out by 11:30 p.m. Days at GSA are longer than normal school days and can be rigorous. So while GSA Studio takes place 7 days a week, we do start 2 hours later on Saturdays, and students have free times on Sunday until afternoon studio. However, depending on program needs, students might have to do activities before studio on the weekends. On Sundays, transportation to nearby houses of worship can be arranged for students by GSA staff. There are only 2 days in the program without studio. One of those days is typically an all-school event, such as a field trip, and the other day is geared towards rest and activities planned by the residential life staff. So we've been talking about the residential life staff, and what we mean about that is back at the dorm where the students stay. So you've got all your classes and everything taking place on one side of campus for studio sessions, and then you've got the dorms, right? So back in the dorms, students experience a rich residential life program. Each student is assigned to a residential advisor, or RA for short. You can kind of think of your RA as sort of your GSA mom or dad. They also live in the dorm and serve as mentors who support your ability to have a successful and fun GSA experience. Each student is a member of their RA's group, which consists of other GSA students from different art forms in various parts of the state. You can think of the other students in your RA group as your GSA siblings. While you can spend plenty of time socializing outside of your RA group, they're a cohort of fellow young artists who you'll have regular communication and bonding time with. GSA students tend to develop friendships at the program that last a lifetime. After all, in our everyday life at home, being an artist can often set us apart from others. But at GSA, it's what we all have in common. This creates a very special type of bond. And even though so much of GSA is spent in studio, RAs organize a variety of fun activities for students outside of class time. These can include exercise, sports groups, coffee houses, which is a talent show, Spirit Week, crafts, and skill building groups. As mentioned in an earlier slide, the RAs help plan and execute of 2 free days. In 2023, this day was called Swinter, which meant summer and winter, Field Day. This day had a nice assortment of indoor and outdoor activities, including a spike ball tournament, cookie decorating, and even a student dance. While we encourage everyone to participate, this can also be an opportunity to have a lazy day in your dorm room too. So we like to make sure that there's plenty of options for you, but you also have that option to rest. All right, so currently, the GSA Summer Program takes place on the beautiful campus of the University of Kentucky, located in Lexington. Students live in Holmes Hall, UK's fine arts residential hall that features not only state-of-the-art student living spaces, but also a dance studio, writing lab, art studio, and practice rooms. Each GSA student is assigned their own room with a roommate from a different art form and different county. Room layouts for home halls are available on the University of Kentucky's website if you'd like to learn more. Floors are assigned by gender, and we work with non-binary and transgender students to ensure that they have a customized housing situation that is comfortable for them. Beyond Holmes Hall, students experience the wide array of stunning facilities at UK, including meals in Champion's Kitchen, located within the Student Center, as well as the School of Arts and Visual Studies, the Singletary Center for the Arts, the Fine Arts Building, and the Schmidt Vocal Arts Center. Throughout their time on campus, students are held to a high code of conduct agreed upon prior to the summer program. Oh, and yes, you do have to do your own laundry. GSA is a great lesson in independence and self-sufficiency. Both sessions of GSA take place on UK's campus. And finally, on the final day of the program, family and friends are invited back on campus for a day of creative celebration. All students showcase their work in some fashion. The day is full of performances, readings, and gallery exhibitions. The day concludes with a graduation ceremony, and then everyone heads home for some well-deserved rest. But the GSA experience doesn't end after the summer program. GSA has a lifelong commitment to our alumni, supporting them toward a quality and accessible college experience and championing them as creative citizens for decades to come. GSA alumni receive scholarships to nearly 30 colleges and universities across the country. A full listing of these are available on the alumni section of our website. GSA alumni also receive significant college and career coaching by the way of a college fair during the summer program, an exclusive opportunity to meet with college reps during our fall college and career day event, and through continued mentorships with GSA faculty and staff. One of the other great things that is available to alumni, they are eligible to apply for GSA's Toyota Alumni Fund. This is a grant fund exclusively available to GSA alumni, which provides $10,000 a year in grant funding to support alumni artistic development. And of course, students are connected to nearly 8,000 other GSA alumni who are creating exciting work in a variety of fields across the globe. So Hopefully by now, we have you on the edge of your seat saying to yourself, GSA sounds like the perfect program for me. How can I apply? Well, you're in the right place. We are going to chat about the application process right now. First off, some big picture highlights of the application review process. Every applicant must complete an online application to be considered for GSA 2024. As we mentioned earlier, students without reliable internet access are encouraged to contact us via phone about accommodations you may need. The entire application process for GSA from start to finish includes 2 rounds. The first round is completely virtual. Every student who submits an application will be considered in the first virtual round. Then, some applicants are invited to participate in a second and final round of auditions and reviews. This gives them the designation of being a GSA finalist. The GSA class is selected from these GSA finalists, aka the applicants who advance to the second round. Throughout the entire process of this application, we will never ask for GPA scores, SAT scores, or ACT scores. While we know these are commonly used indicators of student success, we seek out other indicators for your fit here at the GSA program. Another note is students can apply for up to 2 art forms. As we know, artists are often multidisciplinary. Instrumentalists, you can apply for 2 different instruments if you desire, but please note that that will count as your 2 art forms, and you will not be able to submit a 3rd application if you submit for 2 different instruments. There is a $35 application fee collected just before submitting your application, and there is an additional $15 fee if you apply for 2 art forms. Students on free or reduced lunch can have this fee completely waived by the click of a button in the application, no questions asked. And while we seek a diverse student body from across the entire state, there are no demographic acceptance quotas for GSA. This means we don't accept a certain number of students from each county or high school, nor do we seek specific quotas from gender, race, age, grade in school, etc. In lieu of quotas, GSA adjudicators review each applicant in the context of their artistic abilities, their potential, their access to resources, and the identities and perspectives they have to offer, ultimately choosing a GSA class that is prepared for the summer program experience and represents a vast array of Kentuckian experiences. You may be aware that GSA is one of 3 awesome Governor's School programs in Kentucky, the other 2 being Governor's Scholar Program, also known as GSP, and the Governor's School for Entrepreneurs, or GSE. Both GSP and GSE are awesome programs, and while all 3 programs are residential summer programs for talented high schoolers, please note that our application processes are very different. A lot of people are especially familiar with GSP's application process because it significantly relies on the involvement of a student's high school. Take note that overall, GSA's application process has less formal involvement from applicant schools than GSP does. And a student can apply for GSA without any kind of approval from their school. Students do not nominate students, schools do not nominate students for GSA. And while we encourage students to consult their teachers and counselors during the application process, it's possible their role in the application will be limited to the recommendation forms, which we will discuss here just in a little bit. All right, so here's some great information, everything you need to know about GSA, including the link to access the application, will be found at our website, www.kentuckygsa.org. Note that our website is embedded with the larger site for Kentucky Performing Arts. They're who manages performing arts spaces in Louisville here. If you accidentally click a link that takes you to a page about shows or tickets, just go back to the previous page or go back to our homepage using the URL kentuckygsa.org. On our website, you will find a very important document for your art form, the art form that you're interested in applying to. This is called an applicant guide. There are 9 applicant guides in total, 1 for each art form, and we cannot emphasize this next point enough. Please read the applicant guide for your art form in full before you start your application and consult it often throughout your application process. This year's applicant guides are now available on the website. And as I said, that's www.kentuckygsa.org. So feel free to check those out later and peruse so you can get a sense of the document's content. And as you dig into those applicant guides, here's an overview of what you'll learn every applicant needs to submit as part of their initial GSA application. So the GSA application for GSA 2024 is now available as of October 5th, and it is due back by end of day January 14th, 2024. You can start and stop the application as you please, saving your work along the way. When you click the Apply Now button on GSA's website, you will be moved to GSA's application portal, which is a separate site called Accepted. You will create a profile with Accepted and then proceed with your application. While the GSA team is here to answer your questions about the application, Accepted has their own technology support team you can contact if you experience any technology glitches. A quick note, Accepted is not misspelled on this slide. The final E in the word is omitted in that application platform's name. So you don't see a typo. It may irk you if you're, really spelling strickler, but no. So Accepted, the platform does not have an E at the end. All right. And this is actually also, Accepted is a platform that you may use moving forward for various collegiate arts programs. So this may not be the last time that you use your Accepted account. Students will be asked for some basic demographic and contact information, and then will be asked to identify 2 recommenders. Applicants provide contact information for each recommender, and then Accepted emails each recommender an online form to fill out. You never have to ever submit a letter of recommendation or turn anything in on behalf of your recommenders. We strongly recommend you complete this part of the application process as early as possible, so your recommenders have time to complete this form before the January 14th deadline. Both recommenders will complete the same form in which we'll ask them about your artistic abilities and potential, how you contribute to your learning environment and/or community, and your overall character and fit for GSA. If you have mentors or teachers who know your artistic work, they are probably the best people to complete these forms. If you don't, no worries. Simply choose someone who knows you as a student or contributing member of a group or organization, like maybe an after-school club or a youth group, a sports team. Your recommenders can be teachers from inside of school or outside of school, mentors, community leaders, school administrators. Their job title matters less, and their ability to speak to your strengths matters more. So be sure to contact your recommenders in advance of filling out the application to let them know that they should be on the lookout for the recommendation forms in their mailbox. And so you can tell them why you think they should give you a glowing recommendation. Next, students across all 9 art forms will respond to 2 essay prompts. One response will be written and the other will be a video of a verbal response. Students will also respond to some art form specific questions about their experience and interest in their area. From there, students are prompted to submit images, videos, and documents specific to your art form's requirements. Again, carefully review the applicant guide to review what is required of your art form specifically. For some art forms, this will be as simple as 1 or 2 art uploads. For other art forms, you'll need to create multiple short videos. Give yourself plenty of time to gather your materials by reading the applicant guide as soon as possible. And remember, we are super excited to see your artwork and review your application. We know it can be intimidating to submit your work for scoring and judging, but know that we want you to do well, and we will be impressed with the ambition, discipline, and courage you've exhibited by submitting an application in the first place. Just remember that throughout the whole process. We are on your side and cheering you on. All righty, so we are getting close towards as we start to get to the latter half of our presentation. So as we start to wrap that up, let's just quickly review the timeline of important dates for GSA applicants. So as you know by now, October 5th, our application portal officially opens. The applicant guides for GSA 2024 are available on our website. Our website is also where you can find the application walkthrough video. Sorry about that. We will host one webinar per art form during October now and in November as well, where we will chat with faculty members about the application process and what GSA is looking for in applicants in each specific art form. So we've got our GSA 101 webinars. You'll see today the 10th. We've got 2 more coming up in November and December. And then we also have our art form specific webinars coming up. So if you're interested, and I hope you are, in some of the art form specific webinars, you can visit our website and register for those the same way that you registered for this one. Oops. My slides got away from me. Pardon me. There we go. Okay. So please bear in mind too that the GSA 2024 application is due by end of day, January 14th. Note that this is a Sunday and the GSA office is not staffed on weekends. So maybe make a little note to yourself right now that Friday, January 12th would be the last day that you would be able to call in or email us to speak to someone before those applications are due Sunday evening. Please, 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 please do not wait until the last minute to upload your application if at all possible. The application system will inherently run slowly as more people submit their application in the final day or two. So do yourself a favor and get your application in nice and early. We recommend completing your application at least 1 week in advance of the January 14th deadline. Students will learn if they've advanced to the second and final round on February 16th, about 1 month before the final round auditions reviews take place on March 15th and 16th. GSA's final round auditions will be hybrid, which means that some of the auditions and reviews will take place in person at the University of Kentucky in Lexington, and some of them will take place online via Zoom. Full details are in each applicant guide. We will announce the class of GSA 2024, as well as any alternates placed on the waitlist on April 12th. And finally, the dates of GSA 2024 are Session 1 is June 9th through June 29th, and Session 2 will be July 7th through July 27th this year. All students will attend one of the 2 sessions listed above. Students are assigned which session they attend and will learn which session they've been accepted to along with the class announcement. Though most art forms will take place in both sessions, please note design is only held in session 1 and dance will only be held in session 2. All right, so we've got some final tips here, right? So what else can you be doing right now to prepare yourself to apply for GSA? Well, hopefully these final tips are fun ones. Dive into your art form every chance you can, whether it's taking a class, practicing, sketching, or writing at home, or even just researching the work of other artists online. Learn and experience as much as you can, even if it's just on YouTube, and form opinions about what you see and learn. Why do you like or why do you not like a piece? How do you see GSA's criteria in the work of other artists? Who are some of the artists you admire? Second, reflect on why you like engaging in the arts and what kind of artist you want to be. And then get comfortable talking to other people about it. We know it can sometimes be uncomfortable to talk about yourself as an artist, but you've got nothing to lose. Chat with your family and friends about your art form, your dreams for your artistic future, and how you want to grow. Maybe even ask them about their creative interests as well, even if it's cooking or crafting. It's a great way to prepare for the GSA application process, and it can be a wonderful way to deepen your relationship with friends and families. So throughout all of this, remember that while GSA is a wonderful program, we are not the be all end all. We do not get to determine whether or not you are a good artist or whether you have a future in the arts. The GSA application process is competitive. We usually see between 1,200 and 1,400 applicants for our 512 spots. But don't let that hold you back. We hope you'll apply because you believe you deserve an opportunity like this one. If ultimately you aren't accepted into the program, our hope is that you feel proud of putting yourself out there and that you feel more determined and prepared for other opportunities. You are an artist, and no one, including GSA, can ever take that away from you. So if at any time throughout this entire application process, you start to feel self-doubt, have second thoughts, or feel down about yourself, we hope you remember these next few things. You are enough. You are important. You are an artist, and your potential is limitless. So that is about wrapping up the end of our GSA 101 session. We have our contact information up for you too. Don't forget, we are here to answer your questions and support your ability to put your best foot forward. You can contact GSA with any kind of question. You can call us at 502-566-5192. Or of course, always feel free to send us an email to our GSA info box at gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. There are no scary adults here at GSA waiting to judge you. We love chatting with our applicants. It is our pleasure. It is our job. A lot of us are alumni or have worked for the program before and just have this passion and want as many of you to also have the opportunity to partake. So please, please, please do not ever hesitate to reach out to the support that you have here. And of course, you can also follow us on social media. You can search our name on Facebook, and our handle on Instagram is @KYGSA. All righty. And of course, this is a phrase that we have embedded in our GSA community, which is go forth and make great art, which I know all of you are getting ready to do for your fabulous applications that are coming up. So I want to thank you for attending this virtual info session. And now that you are armed with this information, you are well on your way to being the best GSA applicant you can be. Please keep in touch. And, good luck to each and every one of you. And as we say at GSA, go forth and make great art. Now we are going to go ahead and open it up for some question and answer session for us.
Yeah, we had a lot of really great questions this GSA 101. So thank you so much for asking some really great questions, y'all. Kept me on my toes. I was typing a mile a minute. So a couple of ones that I want to kind of share with the group that I think are really great questions. We had a question about how does the roommate selection work? And typically we do try to have students roommate with somebody not from their county, not in their art form. But if you do have a specific request, for example, a request we got last year is we had a student who had a severe peanut allergy, and they're like, I just don't want to have a roommate who, or I want a roommate who also has a nut allergy or peanut allergy. So I think that's a great example of like those kind of special requests. To feel free to, whenever you get accepted into GSA, you'll send those GSA you'll see that, send that request to the GSA info ads. So that was a really great question. Another question we got a lot in the chat is if your parents can come visit. We don't have a parent or family visitation day. Typically, you only see your parents on opening day and on closing day. So which may be a little scary for some folks, but it also may be very exciting. So just keep that in mind whenever you're applying. Another multiple questions we got about medication on campus. So students are in charge of administering their own medication. There are special cases, and if you have a special case like that, just feel free to email us that special case and kind of that information at GSA info, that last slide that we, contact slide that we had. And then let me see, there's a couple more I want to ask or talk about. So we had a question, do students bring their instruments to the GSA sessions? That's a great question. It depends on what your instrument is. Of course, if you're like a timpani player or something like that, you don't have to bring your own instrument. But if you're a guitar player, if you're a trumpet player, or if you also need accommodations for an instrument, say your instrument's in the shop or something like that, or you have another special case, just send us an email. We can make accommodations for instruments and things like that. Whenever we decide the final round auditions, we will contact you through Accepted. So all of our messaging, both whenever you're accepted into the final round auditions and into the program, will be through the Accepted messaging system. So definitely keep an eye out for those. As you're applying and going through, you'll get messages from Accepted about like our deadlines and fun stuff like that. So make sure those don't go to spam. Make sure those go to your inbox so that way you know if you were accepted or not. That's a really great question. Oh, another good one. Do we have a gym or a place to work out at during the summer? So we do. We do have, we talked about our RA staff, who's kind of like your mom and dad while you're attending GSA. They will take escort. You never go anywhere on UK's campus without an escort. And so they will actually take you to the gym during a certain period in time during the week, and you'll have an opportunity to work out there. So great questions, y'all. Oh, and another great question. So if you are 16 years, if you're younger than 16, if you're a 15-year-old applicant, you will actually have to have a parent or a teacher start the application for you. We do have a, when you start applying, if you'll click the ART form, will actually be a link underneath the applicant guide message that will say, oh, if you're younger than 16 or younger, excuse me, 15, like if you're 15 years old, you'll be able to have a guide to set you up through that account. That makes sense. That makes sense to you, Dean?
Yes, you're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. Another question that I'm going to answer live. Can someone do GSA and GSP in the same summer? No, you cannot. And actually, Dean, do you want to talk about that a little bit since you have some experience with that?
Yeah. So with GSP being a 5-week program, right? Just usually the way that it overlaps, there's really not any pocket to where you're able to be present for opening ceremony or final ceremony at GSA and actually be present for one of those things at GSP. So if you are currently a sophomore and you're thinking about applying, maybe try to get into GSA now, and then maybe you nail it, and then the following year you can apply for GSP. It is possible. I did that. But again, too, like they're both amazing programs that unfortunately with the way that the schedules overlap and whatnot, there's just really not an opportunity for you to do both. And we have had people ask in the past, and it really is just with being such an intense 3-week summer program at GSA, every studio session is vital to the experience, right? So hopefully you're talented enough and maybe you get into both and then you could go from there, or, but definitely if you'd like to seek out, go for it. But we're here to answer your questions and sway you to come to our program if you have a decision to make.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dean. I'm going to answer a couple in the chat, and then I'm going to go back to the Q&A questions. Somebody asked if we can bring a fun instrument like a ukulele. Absolutely. We have people, bring their guitars, bring their ukuleles, bring any other kind of instruments that they have just to play for fun. We do have a thing called Coffee House where you're allowed to sign up for a performance. And you'll get more details about that if you're accepted, but that's another fun aspect of GSA that we really love. And then can you bring outside foods like snacks to your dorms? You can, absolutely. There's always a funny story that some of the UK faculty will tell about how many snacks some of our students will bring into the dorm. So you can bring, all your Diet Cokes, you can bring all your Cheetos. It's a great time. So I'm going to go back to the Q&A questions. Let's here. If you're trans and you would like to have a roommate, you can absolutely do that. You just have to, if you're accepted into the program, you'll email that GSA info just with your request. And if you have a specific floor you'd like to be on or a specific roommate, you can go ahead and do that. And then how much did you pack? And is there a specific list a packing list for specific things you need to bring, that's a great question, and absolutely yes, yes, yes. So it will actually GSA will mail you and also email you a list of things that we suggest bringing, and then your art form will also have a list of things that they suggest bringing as well. So if you're accepted to the program, you'll get all of that fun information. Great, and then what would people be looking for in applications in visual art versus design? That's another really great question. So all of that is kind of listed out in the application guide, and those are available for you guys to view right now. So at the very end of those applicant guides, they actually list a criteria of what they're looking for in the applicant guides for each applicant for, you know, visual art versus design and fun things like that. So that's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. Are we allowed to decorate the dorms? That's a really great question. So you're there for 3 weeks. So yes, you can, but you will probably, you know, want to be mindful about how you're attaching things and things like that. But you're allowed to bring, of course, you want to bring pictures of your friends and family, please do. Because I know sometimes, like I remember I got homesick while I was there. Also was living the best 3 weeks of my life, but of course I got homesick. So it's good to see like my friends and family on the wall and things like that. So I suggest bringing painter's tape to do things like that. Or some fun lights, you know, you'll have opportunities to kind of see what the dorms are like, both online and then once you arrive on campus. To kind of make those decisions. So that's a great question. I've already answered that question. Oh yeah, if you're having anxiety, of course. And that I just sorry, we had a question about, you know, what if you are you allowed to bring things from home if you have, or if you're having anxiety? And absolutely, we strongly encourage it. I know, like I said before, I brought pictures of all my friends and family just to remind me that they're cheering me on. And then anything else that's comforting. And one things that I strongly encourage, if you are somebody who has sensory issues, like bring your own headphones. We are in a space with a lot of wonderfully talented, loud musicians and singers and all that fun stuff. So if you get overwhelmed in loud spaces, bring your headphones. I think that's a really great asset. So can a teacher who is an adjudicator also give a recommendation? That's a really great question. Dean, do you want to give some input on that? Do you have any input? I want to say no, and we actually have a system in place for kind of situations.
Yeah, I was going to say, we do have any adjudicators, they have the opportunity to basically to denote the fact that, if oh, I'm skipping on our word, but basically like if they know that it's kind of hitting too close to home, or if they have a personal relationship with that student, they can actually step away from being an adjudicator in that art form and actually not review it, because they will know that, it's a student they've taught privately or something. So if you know that it's like, if you know somebody, your mentor has been an adjudicator for GSA for the past, however many years, you can ask them for sure, and they would probably just let you know, well, if it came to it, I'll, due to fairness, I would not review it, as an adjudicator then if I was submitting it as a recommender as well. So we definitely, like Jessica said, we keep things in place to make sure that we don't have any, favoritism or anything like that. So.
And I can't remember the name of what that is exactly called for the life of me right now, which is really funny, but we have a whole system in place. So that doesn't happen. There's another great question. Is there a maximum number of students accepted in each program? I would be happy to give you those numbers now. So design accepts 16 students. Creative writing is 56. Dance is 40. Drama 66. Film and photography 32. Instrumental music 98 students. Musical theater 62. Visual art 80. And vocal music 62. There is some fluctuation in those numbers, but that's a great start. And then, is there a dress code for GSA? That's actually listed. Our dress code is listed in the packing list that we'll send out. It's somewhat similar to schools, I believe, but yeah, so that's a great question. Can we bring a camera to take pictures outside of the dorm? Yes, because you're not allowed to have your phone outside of the dorm, your dorm hall. or dorm room, actually. It's whenever I was a student, we couldn't have it outside the dorm room.
But those disposable ones with
Yeah, the
the
disposable
crank
ones, there's a
wheel.
lot of students will bring their digital cameras, they'll bring the disposable ones. It's a great time. It's really fun to see what happens. Our parents are allowed to drop off and mail packages. They are. We can't guarantee that, if you mail a package at the end of week 3, that we can't guarantee that it will get to you in time, especially because it has to go through the UK post system. So just keep that in mind with mailings and stuff like that. We'll have more instructions for drop off and mailing. If you get accepted into the program, that will also be mailed to you. Do you need to bring money for any reason? That's a great question. We do suggest bringing about like $30 at least, just to begin with. Some people bring more, some people bring less. In case you have a field trip, for example, film photography goes on lots and lots of field trips. One of them is they actually end up going to a fair. At least they have in years past. Hopefully they will do that in the future, but they go to a county fair and they take photos at the county fair. So, if you want to buy deep fried Oreos, then you have money to do that. So,
And just to kind of piggyback on that, so if you're going out on a field trip or whatnot, GSA would obviously still provide you with a meal or something if you're going to be gone that long. It would just be for the extra goodies, all the funnel cakes and the fried Oreos, all the good stuff. But yeah, you wouldn't technically need the money for food or anything. It's just the extras.
Another question, how many people are you in a room with usually? So you actually have your own separate room, but there's 2 in a suite. So that's a great question. There's another one. Sorry, I've been putting this one off for a little bit because it's a good question. I've just been putting it off a little bit. Do folks who don't get accepted given feedback why they were not accepted and what to do for success for next time? Unfortunately, due to administrative constraints, we're not able to give feedback at this time. We are trying to work a way through that, but at this time we do not give feedback after the application. So excuse me, just find some other things. Is there a greater chance of getting in if you've been a finalist before? That's a great question. They do take it into consideration that if you applied as a sophomore and didn't get in, that you're a junior, that this is their last time to be able to apply to get in. They do take that into consideration. Is it a guarantee? No, because we do have a lot of sophomore students who get in, but it is a good question. Is it 62? So we're asking about those numbers again for each art form. So what those numbers that I gave you is actually for all together. So it's about 30. So for drama, for example, there's 62 students total that attend for drama. It's 31 for each session. And then other questions, just to target. So another great question about second round auditions. Would you be able to request about doing either an in-person or an online final audition? So it depends on your art form. So all of the visual, what I like to call visual arts, their auditions are typically, so that includes design, creative writing, film and photography, and visual art. Those are all going to be virtual. And then the other ones that are going to be in person will be dance, drama, instrumental music, and musical theater, and vocal music. And then if there's something happens and you have like a family emergency and you need accommodations, just reach out to us the day of, or you have another issue that comes up, just let us know. Just be communicative about all of your needs, and we're able to help in any way that we can, because we want you guys to succeed. We're cheering for you guys. We already, we see things and we're like, we're cheering for this student. It's going to be great. Okay, so take that one. Can you pick your session? So that's a great question. So you can we do on the third part of the application, if you make it to the final round, you have a question in your application that gives you the opportunity to request a session. We do request that you list why you want a specific session. Of course, that is not necessarily included with design and dance, because there's only design in first session and dance in second session. And so yeah, so just communicate that to us very early on, and we'll try to accommodate that as much as possible. No guarantees, but we try to accommodate as much as possible. All right.
You just got a good question that I feel like you'd love to answer.
Oh, which
if we're
one?
interested in art forms other than those we end up being selected for, will we be able to participate in those activities in any capacity during the summer session?
That's a great question. We love that question. So yes, you will have opportunities to participate in other art forms. So within your art form itself, we actually do collaborations with other art forms. So we'll have special days where like instrumental music will work with drama on things and things like that. That's just one example. But then we have another fun thing called S'morgs. In S'morgs, you get to participate in another art form that you normally wouldn't have participated in before. So that's another great opportunity. And then I mentioned Coffee House, where you get to perform if you want, or, you know, read any writing that you may have or something like that, or show your visual art. We actually do an art gallery in the dorm as well. So there's a lot of fun opportunities like that. So keep that in mind. Will there be assignments or homework or grades or tests at all? So great question. We don't have grades or tests or anything like that. And then assignments or homework, it just depends on your art form. So of course you want to memorize your music. You want to memorize your lines if you're doing theater. So there is certain cases that'll be like that. And we're always encouraging, you know, to be practicing art as much as possible. I know, for example, a lot of times during our morning announcements, we'll have visual art students who are sketching as the performance or the lecture is being given and stuff like that. So that's another fun thing that happens. See what else. Is the vocal music program exclusively choral, or are there other kind of vocal genres involved? That's a great question. It's mostly choral, but it doesn't mean that it will. That was previous years. I think it's evolving and changing as we go on. Dean, do you want to add any other information on that?
Yeah, I kind of, just to add on what you said, it traditionally has been more choral, but there's also, you know, opportunity, you know, there's solo work, there's private lessons. And, you know, as we do start to develop more and having 2 sessions of vocal music the past summers, there's definitely been more ideas and new thoughts being incorporated. So I feel like it's one of those art forms where it could develop a little more, and it just may start to take on, you know, some new interesting, exciting parts to it. But yeah, definitely, like, you definitely do get some choral exposure for sure, but I wouldn't say that's all that you're getting.
Thank you, Dean. So we answered that one. Does drama put on a performance or just take lessons over the session? There is a performance, both musical, I mean, everybody puts on a version of their performance. So of course, vocal music does a big choral and solo piece at the end of the session. Drama will put a big performance on. Musical theater will do a really great performance on. Dance will. And then for the visual arts and design will put on their own gallery. And then who am I missing? Oh, film and photography will also put on their own gallery. Instrumental music will do a big performance. And then who else am I missing? Creative writing, that's the one I don't mean to miss, because they're very near and dear to my heart. My roommate was a creative writer. They also do, if you feel, if you would like to, you can actually read a lot of your pieces. And yes, parents do see that performance. Again, that's performance on that final day. So parents are allowed to be there on the opening day and closing day. Great. And then, are there practice rooms in Holmes Hall you can use? Yes, there are. What am I trying to say, Dean? The time that you can go practice in them is a little bit I don't want to say constricted. What am I trying to say here? Just it's limited opportunity to practice in the Holmes Hall because you are in studio so often. So typically studio, you'll go to 10 p.m. at night, and by the time you get done with studio, you probably will want to rest, but you will have plenty of time to practice during the studio if you're instrumental music.
And typically too, when you have like extra free time or whatnot, that's when you could reach out to the RAs if there's not a lot going on and you just really don't feel like going to your room to sleep yet and you just want to get an extra bit into practice. Usually there's someone that you can find, or you could just find a little corner and practice out in the lobby, put on a show for everyone.
Absolutely. Love it. Another question we had, if you have done acting in film or on the screen and that's something that you're interested in, do we have that as an opportunity? So we don't have any acting for film or screen yet, but you can talk. I would strongly encourage you to talk about that within your application and how that is your passion, because we want artists, a wide range of artists. We don't just want theater performance artists, and anything that's and like drama performance artists, anything that you are interested in, then sometimes the faculty will do a special lesson or talk about it because they know that you guys are interested in that. So we answered that one. Can you submit pieces from earlier portfolios or competitions to your application? Absolutely. If it meets the criteria, absolutely. There will be field trips. I'm sorry, Maria, your question I'm working through. We do have group trips that each art form will take, and then we'll also do a full all school field trip as well. Oh, and if you forget something before, I think I know what you're saying now. So if you forget something when you move in, your parents do have the opportunity, if your folks or your guardian or whoever's with you moves you in, they do have time to go and purchase things if you're missing something, but your RA can also go and purchase something for you. Sorry, that took me a minute to decipher a little bit. So yeah, if you guys have, if you need wake up call times or special accommodations to help you be the best functioning person that you are, we can make accommodations for that. And we can also find ways to support you that you can also be okay with. I hope that all made sense. So. We don't do typically, the RAs won't do wake up calls unless you're oversleeping. But so definitely bring an alarm clock, bring a morning light to help you wake up, or anything else that might help you. Strongly suggest bringing. So a question was for the final performances and galleries, do all students get to watch the other art forms? So on the Friday before that Saturday, which is the final day, you do get to view the galleries and then other people's performances. So yes, you do have that opportunity to do that. If you are a visual art student, I will say you get more opportunities to view other people's art forms and things like that. But everybody gets that chance, and we highly suggest it because it's incredible to see what all of your friends have been working on. So the questions about the showers and bathrooms in your dorms. Will my roommate and I be responsible for keeping them clean? For those 3 weeks, yes, you sure are. Great question. Can you switch roommates? Whenever there's, any kind of conflict between folks, we try to handle it as best we can. So if it comes to that, we can make accommodations, but we try to work through it as best we can, just like in any other kind of adult life situation, because for these 3 weeks, you're very independent. We believe in you guys. So a question about the layout for each student suite. I would definitely go to UK's website and look up Holmes Hall and see what the kind of layout is. There is a mini fridge and a microwave. I will go ahead and say that. So if you, and there is like a kitchen sink and a very long countertop. That's the word I'm looking for. So that way you can, meal prep if you need to. If you need that kind of a level of accommodation, you can do that. A lot of fun stuff. So is there a laundry room nearby for clothing and such? Absolutely. So is it on one hall? Is that right, Dean? I feel
Yeah.
silly.
Mhm.
So on one floor, there is a laundry room for folks to do their laundry on. So, and if you need detergent or anything like that, you can bring it or you can let us know and we can help you out. Great questions, y'all. All right. It's 6:10.
Great questions,
Great
though. And thank you,
questions.
Jess. Thank you
Yeah,
very much for
of course.
nailing
Oh, one last one. Can they swim? We do not have access to the swimming pool. So no students cannot swim. Great. Okay, that's it. That's all the questions.
that. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here this evening, and I know we're sending you so much good luck and good vibes your way. As we previously said to you, if you have any questions at all, you can call us, email us. We are here for you. Hopefully, we're very friendly and approachable to you by now. So yeah, just reach out to us with any of those questions or any that come up as you're going over those applicant guidelines and you prepare your materials. Yeah, Jess, did you want to say anything else?
Nope, just really excited to get to know all of you. And don't be, again, please don't hesitate to call us, email us to ask questions. We are here for you. You can Facebook message, you can Instagram message. We're here to support you guys. We're really excited to see and get to know every single one of you. That's it.
And I love all of you talking in the chat too. Like, hope to see you all there. Yes, build that community now.
Absolutely. Awesome.
All right. Well, have a wonderful evening, everyone, and we'll be seeing your application soon. Bye.